morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our first webinar of 2026. Just as a heads up, we have a jam-packed educational schedule set up for you guys this year. We really appreciate you taking out the time in your day to join us. My name is Josh Tipton. I'm in the Advanced Markets department here at Dunhill. I'm joined by Ephraim Steigerwald, also in the Advanced Markets department. And we're going to be talking about AI-powered lead generation and marketing strategies. It doesn't really make sense for any of us to go into 2026, into the new year, expecting different results if we don't have a different plan. So before we talk about AI, LinkedIn, automation, I want to set expectations today. The session this morning is not about teaching you how to use individual tools. It's about showing you how simple marketing can be when you have a clear plan and the right support. Throughout the presentation, I'll show you examples of modern outreach. We're going to show you how to simplify your follow-up, and we're going to show you what's possible using AI, social media, digital marketing, and other tools available. Now, we're not showing you this so that you run home and try and build a whole platform on your own. We're showing you this because we've seen it successful, we've seen the results, we've executed the plan, and we want to team up and partner with you in getting a marketing strategy and campaign set up for each and every one of you. Okay, most agents do not struggle because of lack of effort or motivation. They struggle because they don't have that plan that we're talking about. Without a plan, prospecting becomes reactive, marketing feels random, results feel really, really inconsistent. And there's a reason, because they are. A real marketing plan removes the fatigue of constantly making decisions, constantly having to process. It is clear, concise, and has goals. You stop asking, what should I do today? And you start following a repeatable system. Building a successful business, this is probably the key factor in any business, in any sector, no matter what it is, it's repeatability. Can these results be repeated over and over and over again? So this is where we're trying to add value to your agencies. We want to kind of take the cloak off of the tech piece. We want to show you that it is a simple approach. It can be executed by anyone and everyone, and we're here to help you with that. We want to change, realistically, what we're trying to do is change your daily outreach tactics into a strategy. So again, the challenge is not effort, it's fragmentation. So a lot of you have tried the digital marketing, you've tried the outreach on different platforms, manual LinkedIn searches, writing emails, one email at a time. We get tired, we're human beings. So the follow-up on that effort becomes inconsistent. It becomes kind of overwhelming. When marketing lives in pieces in that fragmentation, it leads to burnout. We have to give ourselves some grace. We're without a plan or a strategy, we're literally just setting ourselves for an uphill climb the whole way. So the solution really isn't to work harder, it's to simplify everything and and execute the plan that you put in place. So part of that marketing is focus. Okay, the riches are in the niches. I know that you've heard David Springer from Dunhill say that. If you've ever spoke to him, it's one of his favorite terms. So one of the most successful strategies that we see and we focus on is picking a core group that you can gain access to and servicing their needs and marketing to their needs. Okay, we literally have an agent that built a seven-figure practice by focusing on a single company, and their focus was to become a resource for the employees of this company. It wasn't in an official capacity, it was through marketing. And that's a seven-figure annual income only servicing one particular company. So we want to team up with you. We want to sit here. We want to learn your business. We want to help you see some of the niches that are available, right? Um, I've got a agent that I personally work with that opened with tax planning. And his focus was tech companies because a lot of their highly compensated employees have restricted stock options, which is a taxable nightmare. He opened up with, hey, let me show you how to save in taxes, and then converted that into life and annuity sales, right? The niche is where you're going to find your success. The advertising or the outreach, for lack of better terms, in that niche is where you will start to cultivate that success. So I'm going to turn it over now to my colleague Ephraim. He's going to start getting into some of the details, the targeting, some of the tech that we use, and the simplicity of the entire program. Ephraim?
Thanks, Josh. So before we get into running any automation or starting any marketing itself, you need to focus on creating a hyper-targeted list. This means you know exactly who you're going after, and that's where this list will come from. Think of it like this. Instead of casting a wide net and hoping someone bites, you're building a list of people who actually fit your ideal client profile. And you do that using specific filters or tags on LinkedIn or other mediums. So let me walk you through the beginning or some example tags that you can filter by. The first one is going to be a job title. This is going to be huge. Are you going to be targeting CFOs, HR directors, business owners? When you filter by title, you're making sure you're talking to the right people. Graduation year. This one's a sneaky, useful filter. If someone graduated college 20, 25 years ago, they're at a certain point typically in their career. Maybe they're established, earning wealth, thinking about retirement planning, or executive benefits. It's a proxy for age and experience without asking directly. So next one is years at the same job. If someone's been in the role for 5, 10, 15 years, that tells you something. They're stable, they're not job hopping, they're probably more established financially and more likely to have some decision-making authority in their lives. The industry, this ties straight back to your niche. If you specialize in construction, manufacturing, or healthcare, whatever it is, filter for that. You want people who fit the verticals you actually understand and can serve well. The geography, you can get as broad or as narrow as you want. We personally recommend focus on where you're selling currently or where you locally are, so state and city. And then lastly, the company size. Are you going to go after small businesses with 10 employees or mid-market companies with 500? This filter makes sure you're not wasting time on companies that are too big or too small for what you're offering to their employees. When you stack these filters together, you're not just building a list, you're building a highly qualified prospecting pool. These are people who match your niche, fit your ideal profile, and are much more likely to respond to your outreach. This is a foundation. If you get this right and everything else, your messaging, your automation, and your follow-up becomes much, much more effective.
What I like about this, Ephraim, is that, and for any of us that have used LinkedIn to find a group or a pool, the identifying markers can be limited. For instance, the graduation year. This is something like this is key. We have a roadblock built into a system like LinkedIn. We cannot search by age, but we can backdoor with some creativity and search by graduation year and derive that information. So, it's little tricks of the trade that when you're doing marketing that's going to make the difference between success and failure.
Absolutely correct. It's sometimes having to get creative with what tools you have available.
Absolutely.
And so the next slide here. So this is what simplified execution will look like. And so imagine this. You build a hyper-targeted list on LinkedIn, people who match your ideal client profile. That list gets loaded into an outreach system. Connection requests go out automatically. Follow-up messages are sent on a schedule. You're not spending hours on manual tasks. You're spending time on real conversations with people who are already warmed up. Internally, we use third-party automation tools that handle a lot of this for us. Connection requests, sequence follow-ups, tracking responses. It's all running in the background while we're focusing on the conversations that matter and servicing our clients and agents. I'm not going to name specific tools today, but I want you to know this kind of system exists and it's something we can help you get set up with. All you have to do is to get contracted with us at Dunhill and submit 3 pieces of business, and we'll give you an exclusive one-on-one for setting up these automations. The takeaway here is simplicity. The right plan plus the right systems equals consistent results without the burnout.
Would you say that you've witnessed agents that you're working with when they execute a precise marketing plan that they can eliminate the unnecessary conversations and really focus on, you know, the conversations where they have the ability, one, to service the client directly, and two, to make money?
Yep. And absolutely, it's a big time saver doing this the proper way. It's not just generating leads, it's pre-vetting these leads for you. So you're already getting qualified leads to talk to. You're not having to do a lot of the qualifying yourself beforehand and wasting hours with that on top of the hours out doing the outreach, connections, and messaging.
And, you know, one of the other factors that I like about this is that, yes, we are using AI as an assistant, but when it really comes down to it, we're using it as a door opener. And then, you know, as the slide says here, it becomes human conversations, right? So at that point, we're moving beyond a lead. And, you know, let's be realistic. There's probably people on this webinar that have spent hundreds or thousands of dollars a month on leads that weren't fruitful. And, you know, anybody that has spoken to me directly, I'm not a very big fan of leads. And this is why. A lead is just that. It's information on a sheet. What that human conversation aspect will do, what warming up the client will do, is create a relationship. Our careers are not based on leads. They're not transactional. Our careers in financial services are based off of relationship. And if executed properly, this tool will definitely help you build those.
Absolutely agree with you. So this is how Dunhill will support you. We're not asking you to figure this out on your own. Our value is helping you choose your niche, design a plan, create the messaging, and support the execution. That means helping you decide what company are you targeting, what roles, what career stage. These filters become your hyper-targeted list, both for your own outreach and for any AI-powered automation tools you use down the road. The tools serve the strategy, not the other way around. This is guided marketing, not experimentation. So when your targeting is intentional, everything gets easier. Instead of blasting messages to anyone with a pulse, you're focusing on a specific audience you actually want to serve. People who fit your niche, people who can genuinely help. On LinkedIn, this means using filters strategically. Build a list of decision makers at companies in your niche. Save that list. Work it consistently. Over time, you become known in that space. You build authority. People start recognizing your name. Dunhill helps you think through these decisions so your outreach is focused, not scattered. Here's a strategy that works incredibly well on LinkedIn. Lead with value, with helping, not a pitch. When your first message educates someone, help them understand a benefit they didn't know existed or a risk they hadn't considered. The conversation feels natural and you're not selling, you're helping. That builds trust faster than any sales script will. This positioning is something Dunhill helps you develop within your niche. What do your prospects need to know? What questions should they be asking? Lead with that. Value before volume. Education will build trust.
You know, to add to that, and going back to the agent that I'm working with that is using the tax strategy. So, you know, what did he do? He identified a problem before he identified the niche. The problem was there are highly compensated individuals out there where restricted stock options are part of their compensation packet. And he identified problem number 2. There's a huge taxable liability for these people. Came up with a solution and then marketed specifically to those people. And he opened with, hey, great, you work for XYZ tech company. You probably have a stock, restricted stock option in your comp package. What's your thoughts on the taxation on that? Are you tired of paying tax? So on and so forth, right? But that leads right to what we're saying here. The positioning is, I'd say, more than part of the strong marketing plan. It's the foundation, right?
No, absolutely. And then so this is how you save your time without losing your voice. And this really adding personal touch to everything is key. So first is automating the outreach itself. We like to use some third-party tools that connect to LinkedIn or email servers, and it handles the repetitive work, sending the connection requests, sending emails, delivering follow-up messages on a schedule, keeping track of who's responded and who hasn't. You set the targeting, you approve the messaging, and the system runs it consistently in the background. That's how you stay in front of hundreds of prospects without spending hours every day clicking around. Second is what happens when someone responds. This is where AI chatbots can really come into use and be really helpful. When a prospect replies to your message, you need to craft a thoughtful, personalized response. Multiply that by dozens of conversations, and it can add up really, really fast. We use AI tools to help draft those responses, but here's the thing I really want you to take away from this. Feed the AI as much information as humanly possible. The more information you give for the prompting, the better the results will be. I cannot stress this enough. It's the quality of what you get out is directly tied to the quality of what you put in. If you paste the prospect's reply and just say, help me respond, you're going to get a generic, bland answer that sounds like a robot wrote it. But if you load up that prompt with everything you know, now you're really cooking. Tell it who this person is, their name, their title, their company. Tell it what industry they're in. Tell it what your goal is. Are you trying to book a meeting? Overcome an objection? Re-engage someone who went cold? Tell it what tone you want, a friendly, professional, casual, direct. Tell it what products or services you're offering. Tell it what you know about their situation and what they said in previous messages. The more you feed it, the better the output every single time. Think of it like this. AI is smart, but it's not a mind reader. Your job is to give it everything it needs to sound like you, talking to the specific person about the specific situation. When you do that, the draft it gives you is 90% there. You tweak a few words, personalize it a little bit, and hit send. You're the one in control. You approve everything before it goes out. But instead of writing from scratch, you're editing a solid draft, and that turns a 5-minute task into 30 seconds. So automation handles the volume. The AI helps you handle the conversations, and you stay focused on the relationships. Here's what I want you to leave with today. I've shown you today what's possible, some hyper-targeted lists, automated outreach, and AI-assisted responses. This stuff really does work. We use it every day, but I'm not going to send you off to figure it out alone. Again, if you get contracted with Dunhill and submit 3 pieces of new business, we'll sit down with you for a 30 to 60-minute one-on-one session. We'll help you set up the automation tools. We'll do a deeper dive into these AI chatbots, how to prompt them, how to get the best results, and how to make them sound like you. Also help you create and find out your niches and your your hyper-focused targeted list. This isn't a webinar you watch and forget. This is going to be the starting point. If you prove you're serious, put some business on the books, and we'll invest the time to help you build a system that runs. That's the offer and the next step. Now, speaking of resources, Dunhill has a lot more in the toolbox to help you succeed. I'm going to hand it back over to Josh, who's going to walk you through the Dunhill's content library and show you what's available to support your marketing.
Thank you, Ephraim. So, yeah, absolutely. Dunhill has recently added a dedicated online marketing page to our website. The page brings together the content we're discussing today in one place. It's not meant to be a checklist or a do-it-yourself guide. It exists to support planning. Let's start some conversations with Dunhill and you guys as advisors. Now, I do want to add that we have put on some information that is carrier provided. Some of you know, some of you don't know. A lot of these carriers and their marketing teams have advertising campaigns that are already pre-built for you. They're literally plug and play. You copy and paste. You set time and date for your outreach. It tells you when to follow up, how to follow up. So, it's pretty easy to use. We wanted to get all of that information compiled in one place. And that's kind of the start. We're going to be adding additional information about using AI, some of the tools that we are using. We're going to be adding tutorials throughout 2026. So the technology piece with Dunhill is going to be a pretty solid theme throughout the year and moving forward into our future. So really the page is designed to show what a modern advisor marketing plan can look like. And, when it's structured and supported, it's going to be successful. It's not meant, the page is really not meant to replace your interaction with your life marketer or case managers at all. It's just a resource guide, but it's a very, very important one. And so for those of you that are interested in building out a marketing campaign, what's the next step? Well, the first step is give Dunhill a call, 619-578-7800. If you don't have a life marketer that you're working with, you can definitely be put in touch with one of our team members. If you already have a life marketer, they're going to be your best resource. Okay. Again, I want to reiterate something that Ephraim said earlier in the presentation. Reach out to Dunhill, get contracted, place 3 pieces of business. Okay. When you're designing online marketing, all the work's done up front. I really want to know that you're invested in yourself before I invest in you. So very simple steps. We're not asking for much, just a partnership. Then we build a marketing plan. We simplify your growth. We streamline your day. We free up your time. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quickly is, Ephraim, you have built these tech stacks for agents. I've built them. We've executed them. We both experienced it. One of the feedbacks I got was the cost, and people were blown away that we can get an automated system put in place for them in a relatively short amount of time that costs, I think my highest monthly cost for one of my agents was $300. You're in that ballpark as well?
I think mine's about $250
Yeah.
a month.
So again, I mentioned my favorite word in the industry, leads, earlier. I know some of you that I see your names on the webinar have spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on leads and walked away completely not overwhelmed, not excited, right? So it's cost effective. It saves your time. It frees you up. And it's the most efficient way for us to get out in front of targeted groups. Any closing thoughts, Ephraim?
I'm gonna add one thing also. When you purchase leads, a lot of these leads aren't qualified. They may not be expecting your call. These are what would be considered qualified leads. These are people that are interested to speak to you if they respond. So it's a much more cost-effective way to generate leads.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're more than qualified in the fact that you've had conversations with them. They're seeds for relationship more than leads. With that being said, thank you for joining us on our first webinar of 2026. We hope that it was helpful. We definitely hope to hear from all of you soon, and we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks with our next presentation.
We'll also have a few minutes left. See if anyone had any questions. Want to raise your hand or put it in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer those over the next five-ish minutes.
All right, looks like no Q&A, but the best Q&A is actually giving us a call and speaking directly with your marketer. So again, thank you all very, very much.